Before I get started, I just wanted to say that this style of video right here is my most favorite style of video to record. If you're new to my channel, or even if you've been with my channel, because maybe you missed it in a video where I mentioned it, but I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a degree in psychology and a minor in sociology. And I'm pretty proud of that degree, even though I never went on to do anything with it. But I've always had just a wild curiosity about human behavior. And I've always just been intrigued by human behavior. You know, why do we think, feel, act the way that we do? What are the motivations behind it? What are the intentions behind the actions and the behaviors? And so that's kind of what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be sharing with you why I care about what other people think about me and why you should too. And also what are the things that I think about that help to keep me motivated to kind of be the best version of myself throughout every decade. Because I really try to do that. And I actually get questions about that pretty often. Like, how do I stay motivated to continue to put the effort into my appearance, to put the effort into my, diet and exercise and stuff like that. And so that's what I'm gonna be sharing with you in this video. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so I'm just gonna start out with the hard truth. And I really don't think it's a big secret, but we live in a world that is extremely fixated on attractiveness and outward appearances: hair, beauty, weight, fitness, fashion, sex appeal. And at some point in our lives, all of us have been affected by it, especially women, girls and women, even from a young age, even from like middle school. We've always been primarily judged on our looks, even over and above intelligence, over and above academic achievements, over and above talent. And so there's always been this pressure to conform to the beauty ideals and conform to the beauty standards that are out there if we want to be valued or if we want to be treated a certain way in society, given certain privileges, right? And no matter how hard we try to get away from it, the pressure is always there. The pressure to be pretty, the pressure to stand out, the pressure to be valued or recognized by our peers. And even as we age, it's almost doubled, the pressure has almost doubled, especially for us aging women. And the reason is because aging is not considered desirable. It's considered undesirable. With aging comes wrinkles and sagging skin and thinning hair and weight gain and loss of muscle tone and age spots and spider veins and all that good stuff, right? None of which are desirable attributes as far as the media and, society is concerned. And so because of that, a lot of women, especially women over the age of 40, we start to feel like we're being overlooked, or we're not being represented, or we're starting to become, invisible. Some of us might even have shame because we don't feel like we are as beautiful or as youthful as we once were, because we know that society values beauty and youth. And I know a lot of women, especially after the age of 40, they start to say things like, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. And although that may be true for some women, for most of us it's not. And it really shouldn't be, actually. As a matter of fact, it is human nature. Like, we are intrinsically wired to seek acceptance. It's actually rooted in evolution. There was a time that group approval and acceptance actually increased your likelihood of survival. You wanted to be a part of a group, so you were trying to do things to make sure that you were, approved of and accepted. Like I said, it's actually rooted in evolution. And although that now acceptance doesn't, determine whether you survive or not, it still manifests itself today in the way that we, seek validation and approval, from others. And as a matter of fact, there's almost a reward system that goes along with it. When you are valued and accepted and kind of revered in society, there are actually privileges that come along with that. And some of those rewards and privileges look like better opportunities in the dating arena, or better opportunities in the workforce, or better treatment in society from strangers. So although you should not obviously overly concern yourself with the judgments of others, people's judgments and the way that they perceive you out there in society can actually have a direct effect on the way that you're treated, throughout your life. And there are rewards and there are privileges to be had when you are kind of valued and recognized in society. There is a reason why the phrase first impressions matter exists. The way that we look plays a huge role in the way that strangers perceive and receive us. Did you know that within a fraction of a second, so not even a full second, the second somebody lays eyes on you, they have already developed judgments, they've already assessed traits and formed opinions about your trustworthiness, about your competence, your likability, and your kindness. Within a fraction of a second, they have already determined those things in their head. Did you also know that within, I want to say it's 7 to 30 seconds, so not even a full minute of somebody actually interacting with you, they have already formed solid first impressions based on your appearance, based on your body language, and based on your tone of voice. So basically, judgments on your attractiveness, on your personality, and on your character happens within less than a minute of somebody seeing and interacting with you. So that's why appearance and looks do matter. And they should matter to you too. They definitely matter to me because I want people to see me and to automatically form positive opinions about me. I want people to assess and assign positive traits to me. And unfortunately, they do that just based on your appearance. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it happens. They do form opinions. And unfortunately, once somebody has already formed an opinion about you, it is very hard to undo that first impression opinion about you. That's also rooted in psychology. And so looks matter. But there are definitely benefits and there are definitely rewards to putting in the effort and trying to continue to be the best version of yourself throughout all the decades. So how do I stay motivated to do that? Because it does get hard as we get older. It definitely gets a lot harder. And so I'm going to tell you about things that keep me motivated in order to continue to put in the effort and to make the sacrifices, to try to be the best version of myself. I'm gonna give you some stories and some little analogies and stuff like that. There's really only 2, but they can be kind of long. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and jump in, even though I've already jumped in for the last 15 minutes. Okay, number 1, there's only actually 2, but you are a tree. Pretend that you have been given a tree, and at the end of every month, at the end of every year, somebody comes and checks on that tree. And the healthier and the stronger and the more vibrant that tree is by the end of the year determines the amount of rewards that you're going to receive in return. Now, let's say that this tree obviously represents your body. You have been given a body to care for a lifetime. You have been given a body. God gave you a body, and it's the only body that you're ever going to have. And just like a body, just like with a tree that you've just been given, at first it seems kind of easy to maintain, right? Just like a youthful body. You just have to give it a little bit of attention, a little bit of water, make sure it has a little bit of sunlight, and it's going to do just fine. Well, as the years pass and as the seasons change, and occasionally you start to neglect it just a little bit, and all of a sudden you see the leaves start to wilt, or the branches start to become a little bit brittle, and the leaves start to become a little bit sparse. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to give it more attention. And so you're like, oh, I better move it over here where the sun's really going to hit it. And I need to make sure that I water it daily. And I need to make sure that, I give it the nutrients and the attention that it deserves. And then again, you start to neglect it a little bit, and a little bit more time goes by before you start to realize oh gosh, I need to start taking care of my plant again. But then there eventually comes a time where you've neglected the tree for so long that you're no longer able to revive it like you once were. However, if you nurture your tree daily and you give it the nutrients that it needs, and you trim away the parts that no longer serve it, and you adjust its care to the changing of the season, then your tree is going to flourish. And when it comes time to receive your rewards, not only are you going to have a thriving tree, you're also going to have all the benefits that come along with a thriving tree. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to provide fresh air. It's going to provide shade. It's going to attract the admiration of all the people who recognize the care that you put into it. But this is how our bodies work. When we take care of ourselves and we take care of our appearance through proper nutrition and exercise and diet and, mental well-being, we not only feel better physically and have a more positive outlook on life, we also feel more confident and we feel more self-assured. And the icing on the cake is the rewards and the recognition that we get from society, the opportunities that might present themselves to us, the admiration that we get from our peers. But most importantly, we get the respect from those who recognize the vitality and the consistency and the dedication and the sacrifices that go into the efforts that we make. A well cared for body, just like a well cared for tree, stands out, it thrives, and it serves as proof to the effort and the sacrifices and the investments that we put into it. So the question is, are you going to neglect your tree and let it lose its strength and its vibrancy and its beauty and all of the benefits that it has to offer? Or are you going to invest in your tree and cultivate it into something strong and beautiful and vibrant and full of life? So that is how I like to think about it. Think of yourself as a tree that you've been given to nurture and to care for. Because at the end of the day, it's the only thing that you really have as a physical representation of you. Okay, so this is number 2, and this is actually the last one. People will treat and value and respect you the way that they think that you treat and value and respect yourself. In other words, we teach people how to treat us based on the way that we treat ourselves. We are basically saying, this is how I treat and value and respect myself. So you better treat and value and respect me the same way or even better, because I'm not going to settle for less. There's actually a psychology principle that supports this idea, and it's called effort justification. And effort justification really has kind of 2 parts to it, but I'm only going to be focusing on one part of it, and I might touch on the other part of it in just a minute. But effort justification is basically the idea that when we put a lot of effort and time and energy and resources into something, we tend to assign a greater value to it, kind of to rationalize the effort. In other words, we naturally assign a greater value to things that we think take a lot more effort to obtain. Whether it's true or not, whether that thing actually does deserve the value that we assign it, we do that to make it kind of make sense to us. We are just naturally programmed to want to make things make sense to us. We don't want to have any cognitive dissonance. We don't want to have these 2 things not make sense. A little example of this is like a very, very expensive handbag. And the one that comes to mind right off the bat is Hermes. I always say Hermes, but it's Hermes. I'm just going to call it Hermes. I'm just kidding. I think it's Hermes. But anyway, a lot of people know the efforts that it takes to get an Hermes bag. Hermes bag. The designer and the stores literally make you jump through fiery hoops to get your hands on an Hermes bag. It's actually part of their sales process. You cannot just walk into an Hermes store with money in hand and say, hey, I want that bag, and grab it off the shelf and go pay for it. Even though their bags are like, they can go past $30,000 a bag. There's literally like a whole process involved. You have to already kind of be a loyal customer of the store. Like, you have to have already bought other items like shoes and belts and scarves and things of that nature. You have to gain rapport with one of the sales associates, you actually have to be on like a waiting list. And when they do put you on a waiting list and they do offer you a bag, even if that bag is not in line with your preferred specifications, the preferred color or the preferred design or structure of the bag, if you don't accept that bag, then it's going to hurt your chances of getting a bag in the future at Hermes. From what I've heard, that's what I've heard, and that's what I've read, and that's what I've watched videos on. But let's say that you do all the things. Let's say you do purchase, other items and accessories, and you do gain rapport with one of the sales associates, and you do get on the list, and then all of a sudden a bag comes up, and they call you, and they're like, okay, let's set an appointment so you can come and look at this bag and see if you want to buy it. It's not the bag that you wanted. It's not even the color that you wanted, or like I said, the structure, but you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get it because you don't want to hurt your future chances of getting the bag that you actually want, right? And so let's say you pay $30,000 for a bag that's not exactly what you wanted. When you go home with that bag, you're still going to value it. You might even develop a love for the color. You might develop a love for the structure that they gave you, because you have to justify in your head why you jumped through all the hoops and why you paid the amount of money that you did in order to purchase that bag. On top of it, you're probably going to receive admiration from other people out there in the world. They're going to notice that you're carrying an Hermes bag. They know the cost of an Hermes. Most people kind of do know the hoops that they make you jump through. And so you're going to get admiration just from the public on your bag simply because it's an Hermes. And that's kind of the idea behind effort justification, because we know the efforts that it took to get the bag and the money the resources that we had to use in order to purchase the bag, we naturally and subconsciously assign more value to it. On a smaller scale, a DIY project. I have right here, and I'm probably gonna put a picture of it here. Whenever I was young, my dad built me and my sister a desk. It's a double desk, so it has two sides. And he actually built shelves to go with it, but we lost the shelves in a house fire because my ceiling fell down on my bed and it just tumbled over and just ruined the shelves that were sitting on top. But I still have the bottom here, and I will not get rid of it. I will never get rid of it because I saw my dad building it. Every day I saw him in the garage. Every day I saw him, sawing the wood and putting it together and finishing it, with varnish or whatever it is, and putting the handles on it. And I've had it for all these years, and my husband has tried to get rid of it so many times. Like, it was in storage forever. We had 2 storage units because I have a very hard time getting rid of stuff, but he wanted to go down to 1 storage unit. And so he was like, can we get rid of it? And I was like, absolutely not. Bring it here. I'll put it in my makeup room. I'm never going to get rid of it because to me, the value is priceless, because I know the effort that my dad put into it and the love that I know went into making it for me and my sister. Oh my God, it's making me so emotional. This is how valuable it is to me. But because of those things, because of the effort, it's invaluable to me. Is it more valuable? If you look at it, is it better than a store-bought double desk? Probably not. Probably not, because my dad he wasn't a furniture maker. He did this for us out of love for us, and because he wanted us to have something that he made with his own 2 hands, I guess, or maybe we could afford it, but he wanted us to have it. He thought it was necessary for us to be able to do homework. So to me, that is so valuable. So how do these examples kind of pertain to, the way that we look and the way that we represent ourselves and the way that society perceives us? Like I said, people treat and value us the way that they think we treat and value ourselves. In other words, recognized effort also enhances perceived value. When we observe somebody who clearly invests in their appearance through grooming, through fitness, through diet, exercise, fashion, even cosmetic procedures, we subconsciously perceive them as more disciplined. We give them a higher status, and we think that they are deserving of rewards because of the effort that they put into themselves. And this is because we unconsciously equate effort with value. We know how much effort and how much time it takes to create a beautiful hairstyle or to put on, makeup and create a beautiful makeup look. We know the time and effort and discipline and sacrifice it takes to have a fit and trim body. We understand the effort and the coordination and the planning and the attention to detail that goes into somebody who's very, very fashionable. So when we recognize these efforts in other people, these efforts that they make within themselves, we naturally assign them greater value. We naturally think that they are more deserving of rewards because of the way that they treat themselves. Because of the way that they treat themselves, we naturally want to treat them either that way or better because we equate effort to value. And like I said before, these rewards and this treatment can look like better job opportunities, can look like better relationship opportunities, better treatment from strangers, opening doors, saying hello, being chivalrous, even just giving somebody the benefit of the doubt. So looks do matter. Effort does matter, and it speaks volumes to people when they see it. So that is all I have for you today. And although this video should have been 2 bullet points and it could have been a 5-minute video, I get so caught up in these types of conversations, and I feel like I keep having to go backwards and backwards and backwards and be like, but this is why, because there's a rhyme and a reason to everything. And a lot of it, like I said, a lot of it is rooted in evolution. And a lot of the ways that we behave and act are very subconscious and they happen within seconds. And it's just very, very interesting. And so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy topics like this because I'm just going to keep bringing them because I love them. And I love even when I have an idea and I know most of the reasons that things happen, when I start really diving in, I even learn so much more. And it's so exciting to me. I love that. One of the most attractive qualities that a person can have is emotional intelligence. And that's just when they understand people, people who understand people and what makes them tick and what makes them, behave the way that they do and think and act and reason and the motivation and the intentions and all that good stuff behind, people's behavior. That is so, so interesting to me. So I just love topics like this. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend and hopefully I will see you back here next week.